Now, culture always moves first before politics. You know, so if you think about the way that change happens, right? Jackie Robinson goes and takes the field for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And then a few years later, we get the Brown versus Board of Education decision, right? In hip hop, culture changes, and eventually there's a desire to gain power out of that, to emphasize the politics out of that. So hip hop activism started picking up in the late 90s. When you had all these folks that had come through hip hop and decided we've got to figure out a way to change the conditions that we're living in. And so in the late 90s, what you saw were a lot of movements around fighting the prison industrial complex, fighting police brutality. Out here, the Ella Baker Center actually stopped the building of a juvenile justice prison. And by 2004, you have the movement spread across the country such that there's enough people that there's a national hip hop political convention. And out of that, you have people beginning to organize folks to go to the polls. So it started off as this group called the League of Pissed Off Voters in 2004. It became the League of Young Voters now. But in 2006 and in 2008, the results of a lot of that hip hop activism were that you started seeing people elected, and you started seeing young people making a very, very strong play, such that even this year, when Obama thought that the Democrats were in trouble, he's like, let's go to the University of Wisconsin in Madison, throw a big rally, get young people fired up again. Let me go on MTV. It's hard to explain, but 10 years ago, that would never have been a thought. Youth were an afterthought on major politicians' minds. So hip-hop politics has changed the world as well. The one thing that we can take away from hip-hop is that it was a movement that started in the Bronx, in a situation where you had kids that were never thought to become anything, right? Nobody had any kinds of expectations for these folks. They were abandoned. These youth were abandoned. And yet they created the most powerful arts movement of the last 30, 40 years. And were able to change the course of US politics, and are changing politics in a lot of other countries. So the lesson of hip hop is, no matter what, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, and it doesn't matter who you are, you can change the world as well. And I'll just leave you with that.